You don't even, they do to those boys the same thing that the McAlberts did to Kaylee Furbush and Patrick Furbush. Did they do?
It's impossible for me to have any sympathy for any of these witnesses. Definitionally, is it harassing witnesses? Yes, they're witnesses against me in my prosecution. And is he yelling things at them? And is he going up to their front doors and ringing the bell? Yes. But they shouldn't be witnesses. They should have been suspects.
Always have to be careful trusting what psychopaths saying is true. They're always going to omit what they want to omit. They're going to tell you what they want to tell you. And you can never fully trust anything they say.
No one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have.
12:30, 2 a.m. She wasn't fighting very hard, was she?
When she says she's fought for John O'Keefe, she's fought for her own freedom and getting back her name.
I was very circumspect about the times that I spoke publicly. It was very, very, very curated in terms of the statements that I made on the courthouse steps. It was very curated in terms of the statements that I made or Karen made in any interviews. Those were nothing was by chance and nothing was happenstance.
Do you think the federal investigation is over?
I can tell you this. I personally, this is all I can say. I personally, and no one on our team, no one, not David, not Bob, no one ever heard directly from the FBI that this is closed, or the FBI or the DOJ that this federal investigation was closed.
I don't know how else to say this, but it's just not true. They have been contacted by the United States Attorney's Office and told that the federal investigation is over.
From your perspective, in your opinion, did that federal investigation end?
No, I've never heard of such a thing. We weren't contacted. I was never contacted. I've never heard a word of that directly from the horse's mouth. Yeah.
The official announcement from the U.S. Attorney's Office themselves is that it's over. That's their announcement. That's their goddamn announcement. Now that the trial's over, I can say that. So back in February, when this was kind of first announced, the rumor, I contacted her about it. And I'm like, is this true? They contacted Adam Deitch, whatever, from the U.S. Attorney's Office. He confirmed it to them. So an actual, the lead investigator, he was kind of like the second in charge of the investigation after Josh Levy. And he himself confirmed to Alan Jackson and them that it was over.
In your opinion, did that federal investigation end?
No.
We're talking with U.S. Attorney Leah Foley. Leah, I just want to change topics for 1 second. There's a big criminal case going on that is a state prosecution, not a federal prosecution. It's the Karen Reed case. I'm sure you were familiar with it. And apparently there have been some reporting that the U.S. Attorney's Office has closed an investigation into that case. And there's some suggestions that there are even maybe officials in your office. Of course, you're the top official in your office. Can you tell us what the status at all, or if there even is an investigation that has been conducted regarding this case?
So I'm bound by DOJ rules that prohibit me from confirming or denying the existence of a federal investigation. Yep. And that's just the rule. So I can't confirm, but I can say it would not be unusual for us to speak with our partners, our law enforcement to law enforcement partners about investigations. When we are involved in an investigation with partners in local law enforcement or other federal agencies, it is not unusual for us to speak about investigations.
Two sources tell me the federal probe of the Karen Reed case has officially ended and no charges will be filed. Both sources tell me the U.S. Attorney's Office in Boston notified state and local law enforcement last week. One source tells me the feds communicated this to Canton Police, State Police, and the Norfolk DA's office.
Karen Reed and her supporters have been suggesting that federal investigators would soon uncover proof that police are trying to frame her for John O'Keefe's death.
And this was a tactic to besmirch these hardworking, dedicated public servants. There is no longer any federal investigation into the investigation of John O'Keefe's death or any related matters. It is closed. It is over.
Within minutes, Canton Police Chief released a similar statement saying the feds have told her all aspects of the federal investigation have been completed. The investigation is no longer active and will be closed.
This was
Defense attorney David Yanetti denied that the defense has been trying to use the federal investigation to taint the jury pool ahead of Reed's second trial.
And what about now? Do you believe
some
Mr.
ARP
Brennan?
issues. If I take him at his word, that would be a very dangerous endeavor of mine.
Do you think the federal investigation is over?
I can tell you this. I personally, this is all I can say. I personally, and no one on our team, no one, not David, not Bob, no one, ever heard directly from the FBI that this is closed, or the FBI or the DOJ that this federal investigation was closed.
Always have to be careful trusting what psychopaths saying is true. They're always going to omit what they want to omit. They're going to tell you what they want to tell you, and you can never fully trust anything they say.
In the early part of late 2023 or early 24, the defense in the Karen Reed case convinced the U.S. Attorney's Office to open an investigation into a theory.
Josh Levy should never have been intervened in this. An FBI investigation was launched due to cherry-picked evidence that was, or pieces of discovery that was only provided by the defense. Like this is
pretty unprecedented.
To not even speak to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, to not speak to the Mass Police to see what they have for discovery and evidence. Just to intervene himself in that way, and which casted, a shadow of doubt on the investigation. So I think he has a lot of questions that need to be answered.
But there was no finding the conspiracy by Benson and Barrios, was there?
No, there was not.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear ADAs, I write to inform you that the U.S. Attorney's Office recently contacted me to advise the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office that the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts reviewed this was after U.S. Attorney Leah Foley came into office in January of 2025, right after, that the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts reviewed the federal investigation into the death of John O'Keefe. After that review, the U.S. Attorney's Office indicated the investigation is no longer active and is being closed. The U.S. Attorney's Office said the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office could share that information publicly.
I find that there have been repeated misrepresentations made to the court by defense counsel, and I conclude that they were deliberate. So I find that there is a flagrant violation of the Rule 14 obligations.